Podcasting from Portland East to Portland West, from Big Pine Key to Pacific Beach, and from San Juan to Guam, this is All Across America. Tom, thanks for having me by your shop again, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
So you're the owner of Construction Services Unlimited. What do you guys do?
We residential building contractor. We do building and remodeling, new construction and remodeling along the shoreline in Connecticut.
Long Island Sound.
Long Island Sound, yeah.
So what's your typical, today's Friday, end of a long work week. What projects are you working on right now?
We have a very modern home we're working on in Old Lyme, Connecticut, which is really interesting, built into a hillside.
New construction.
That's a new construction.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah.
Quite interesting blend of materials. And we're also working on the restoration of an 1840s home here in town in Guilford.
How many guys you got on your crew?
2, 3, 4, 5, and then, typical subcontractors to pick up the rest of the slack.
Does that include you?
I would be 6.
You would be 6. And you're on the job site on a daily basis, right?
I am. I mean, many of my friends run much larger crews, but there's no need for that.
You got a lot of energy. It's
well, there's just no, I don't see any benefit in it now at this point.
Yeah. So this week, I mean, what stages are these 2 homes in?
The modern home is currently at rough and electrical and plumbing.
Okay.
And lots of stonework going on the exterior. And the Guilford project is just in its infancy. So it's being stripped and readied for additions. Foundations are going in. So that's right at the beginning.
That's a big that's a renovation.
It's
addition.
A very large renovation.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very large renovation in a home that has a lot of history in Guilford.
Right. Okay. So 1840. And let me ask you: square footage of the addition and square footage of the new construction.
I think currently the existing home we're going to more than double it. So we're going to be at about 6,400 square feet when we're done.
Wow.
And I think right now it's probably at 2,800.
Wow. So that is a more than double.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. It's going to be a fun project.
Yeah.
The fun part is meeting new clients.
Really? Okay.
It is.
All right.
I enjoy that.
How do you find them?
This is through a local architect that I've done quite a bit of work for over the years.
Yeah.
And the other project is the same, an architect that I've been working with since right around 2020, right after, the lockdown or shutdown from COVID.
Yeah. And how long have you been in business? How long?
Since I've been in business since 1991.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 34 years. 34 years on your own.
Mm-hmm.
What's the good and bad of working for yourself?
The good thing is obviously you can, create your own schedule when the time and free time when the time allows. Unfortunately,
not so much.
Being self-employed, that is not necessarily the case. You don't have a bunch of free time, but you're always either, checking on jobs and pricing new jobs and meeting people and so on. But it's all good. It's all fun.
So you get to meet people. What's you talked about pricing? What's the least favorite part of it?
Bidding on jobs. Bidding on jobs. I worked for a company when I was in my 20s and late 20s, and they were the oldest construction company in Connecticut.
Okay.
And that was during the recession of 1990-ish, 1991. And they actually closed. And they closed because they were so used to negotiated work.
Okay.
And they felt that if they weren't getting any negotiated work, they were not interested in bidding.
Yeah.
So they closed.
Wow.
They closed. It was new blood in the company. They closed.
Wow.
And he transferred, and I'm sure his ancestors are rolling over in their graves since they were, like I said, the oldest construction company in Connecticut. But he felt like it was just a matter of business, not a matter of keeping the company alive.
Wow.
So I look at that, and that's a little bit of, my employees. Two of my employees have been working with me. One for 25 years, and one for about 15 years now.
Okay.
And so we try and create a family.
Yeah. What makes a good worker?
Excuse me?
What makes a good worker?
One that can deal with me.
Okay, fair enough.
I am not an easy boss. I have a high level of standards that I just feel that we need to provide to our clients.
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah.
And my employees need to. They're well versed now. They understand what we're looking for,
Right.
but there still are those moments. We have those moments.
Right.
Sometimes we get right to the point where they're ready to pack it in, and I'm like, you can't do that. You have to have thick skin. We have to be better.
Yeah.
When I'm gone, and you whatever it is you're going to do, whether it's this business carrying on this name or not, you need to be the best you can be. And if someone's not driving you to be the best you can be, then for me, it's my clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it all trickles down. The clients are demanding and you're demanding of them. And
absolutely.
I'm sure your subcontractors as well.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe, we'll get into the conversation of subcontractors, like the old Limehouse, which we'll talk about that one just because it's a brand new construction. Like, what are the stages? How many months have you been in it? How long does it take? And how many square foot is that house?
That house is smaller. It's about 3,600.
Still larger than your average home.
Yeah. It's sprawling. It's unique. This particular architect loves to build his homes into the topography of the land, so it's unique.
Yeah.
And he likes to use a lot of stone and steel.
Nice.
Because of its design. You can think of, if you can envision Frank Lloyd Wright's design home in, where's it, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, the Falling Water?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
Sort of like that.
Wow.
Right? Where it's where the earth is running through it.
Okay.
So,
wow.
So, yeah.
So this is not exactly
really interesting.
A tract home in Texas. This is three steps beyond.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
And he's of that style where he loves those creations and they really stand out.
Yeah.
They stand
out.
Wow. They stand out. So when you have a client that is looking for that.
Right. But that client, I'm sure, is seeking out that architect because he can do.
Yes, absolutely.
So you've got a client with a vision that knows what they want.
Yeah.
And then he knows that you can deliver on.
Yes. I mean, that particular project has been going on since 2021.
Wow.
Not in its design phase.
I see. Okay.
Probably earlier than that with the architect and the owner. We visited the project in 2021, but then it was put on hold. Okay. And it was just started this early spring.
Early spring. So we're talking
early spring.
March, April.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And so you're 6 months into it.
We're 6 months into it. With the foundation work was very extensive because it cascades down a 12-foot rock face. So it's very interesting.
I mean, was there blasting involved?
No blasting. That's what was intricate about it.
Wow.
It was a very challenging job site. There were some issues there where we could not blast, whether it was neighbors or lack of water in that particular town where you don't want to we don't want to disturb the existing wells for the idea that we might have water problems. So the foundation was very extensive. The foundation contractor was top notch, but the foundation was expensive and extensive.
Yeah.
So
And so, are you working with an engineer as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. On all of the jobs. There's in this day and the period of time that I started working, that engineers on residential projects were few and far between,
and now
were necessary.
Yeah.
Now, yes, more than before. I think a lot of it, the code has become strict.
Right. Especially on the shoreline.
And that's in a different animal. Yes, absolutely.
Storm.
Catastrophic storms and liability and professional liability insurance from architects and engineers just causes the project to become very involved.
Yeah.
And,
what gave you the confidence? I mean,
to create.
Yeah,
things?
I mean, this is not a tract home in Texas. I mean, you could be, working for some other guy.
Yeah,
get
that's
some tools
right.
together, and
I could.
there's no foundation, but this is like we were saying, 3 steps beyond? Is this just 35 years of experience where you're like, okay, I can take on this one-of-a-kind project that I've never done before, I never will do in the same respect?
Right. Everyone's unique.
Yeah.
And everyone basically has the same. I mean, I found that many of these projects have their own. Every project is unique. Every project has its own unique things that you need to figure out.
Yeah.
And sometimes my gray hair is a great selling feature.
Right. They're like, all right, he's been around the bush.
Right. And
not his first rodeo.
You know, and I sell our company on the fact that we have been in business for many years. Right. We're well versed.
Yeah.
There's probably nothing that in my area here that we wouldn't be able to create for you.
Okay. Wow.
And so that sells us.
Yeah.
And our ability to we're client friendly. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. I mean, ultimately most every one of my clients have stayed on and become friends over the years.
That's great. Yeah.
And that to me is a great success.
Yeah. How many houses have you built?
I don't quite a few. Typically our style of home, we're only building 2 houses a year.
Okay.
Or a remodel in a large home or something of that sort.
Yeah.
So we don't have a large capacity to turn things around, but quite frankly, I haven't seen I'm fine the way I am.
Yeah. So, I mean, literally dozens of homes you've built.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dozens of homes.
So you drive around, built that.
Yeah.
Your kids are like, we know, Dad.
Whether they're homes or banks in the area.
Right.
We've done a few challenging bank projects in the area for local banks. And we joke about it because we like to build. I joke about those being our monuments.
Yeah, they are. They are. They'll be around a lot longer than we will.
It's all about my grandchildren being able to say, they're going to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, well, that's right. Exactly.
Right. And say, listen to Pop's voice.
Yep. And that bank will be a French bistro 50 years from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Either that or a hipster bar of some sort.
So. It was intent. It was the other interested buyer was planning on turning it into something of that sort. And
drink IPAs out of mason jars. You know?
Nothing wrong with that.
So how long does it take? So 3,500 square foot house. How long does it take from first shovel in the ground to, polishing the brass and walking away?
For this style of home, it takes us on an average about 14 months, 15 months.
Wow. Okay.
15 months.
Yeah.
Sometimes, delays obviously happen.
Yeah.
And those delays push the job out. And so as long as we maintain an open communication with the client and the client is getting what they ask and they see something wonderful being created, that's the great thing about this job.
Yeah.
The great thing about this job is to create someone's vision, whether it's the architect,
right?
The architect and the client, to make all of those people happy, creating their vision, and stepping back at the end of the day or at the end of the project and saying, wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're just the screenwriter. You're the director, choreographer,
the director,
cinematographer,
and we're the person, and building contractors are the people that are the first person up to the chopping block when something goes wrong.
It's his fault.
Right?
Yes, of course.
Right. Because realistically on every modern day set of blueprints that every builder receives, you're required to notify the professionals of discrepancies. Sort of a disclaimer.
So a discrepancy is where that's a nice way of saying how they screwed up, or
right. I hate to say that, but whatever. I mean, they want to know. Right. They want to know. We're all on the same team. Yeah, it's supposed to be this 3-position team.
Yeah,
the owner, the architect, and the contractor. And the builder. Right. Yes. But we are the person that they confide in to create things properly.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
So, I mean, speaking of confiding in, you're not only the builder, you also have to have part psychologist, part, you're a business
There's
manager.
a lot of emotions. There's a lot of emotions. I have to say that we built a home. We remodeled or restored an 1880s home during the COVID state shutdown. And the client was a retired Navy SEAL, and he moved back to our area here, and it's his family home.
Yeah.
He was raised there. And that out of my entire career, that was probably the most rewarding project that I've done to date so far.
Wow.
Only because we got to bring a project back to its original 1800s grandeur, and my client grew up there, and there were things doorknobs that he touched.
Oh, wow.
That secret doors that he passed through with him and his brothers, and listening to those stories and reusing every single piece of the original home and replicating in this shop, replicating new moldings to match the existing moldings in the home, but yet lead-free. Clean by today's standards,
right?
And creating a very unique, energy efficient home out of an 1800s shell.
Yeah,
it was extremely rewarding. Yeah. And when the project was over and we used every single piece of hardware and door and knob, and he would actually touch these doorknobs and say, "Wow, this has never in my entire life worked as well as it does right now." And he grew up there.
Yeah.
And it was so rewarding.
Yeah.
And now those people are very good friends of my wife and I,
wow.
and we enjoy their company.
Yeah.
And that's the reward.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a reward. I have many building contractor friends, and a couple of them roll that way.
Yeah.
And then others are about they're awesome project managers, and they roll with the financial part of it. They're
more
for
business
a reason.
Yeah.
To generate a profit, and I am as well.
Yeah, of course you're in business.
But it is so rewarding to have clients that you can.
Yeah, I mean that
have
says
a long
something.
Relationship.
Yeah,
with.
I mean you could make money in all sorts of jobs, but there's something special about
There really is.
It's a home. This isn't. Hey,
we're
building.
There's a lot of
storage
emotion.
units.
There's a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
A lot of emotion when it comes to working on a project with people, and sometimes if it's a remodeling project, sometimes they're there the entire time,
right? And
you have to deal with their panic-stricken emotions when there might be a drip because there's a huge downpour of rain, and we're caught, and there's and somehow there's a leak, and we're trying to protect things as we're working, and if there's plenty of emotions around.
Yeah.
It's just a balance.
Get those 2 a.m. phone calls.
We try not, and you're trying to avoid all those things.
Yeah.
Again, in modern day, I say modern day because, I graduated from a trade school in 1982, and I went to a trade school. My brothers did as well. They're electricians.
Yeah.
And we did these things because my parents are blue collar workers. They had no college education. And they said, you can always make a living working with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And we really don't know how we can finance your way through college. So we think you should go to a trade school and learn. And we did. My parents were very creative. My mom was, God bless her, she's still alive. My dad's passed, but they were very creative people. Yeah. They had to fend for themselves and create things on their own because they were a one. It was back in the 70s. Mom stayed home and dad worked. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we took on these trades, thinking that you need to find a trade to work with your hands. And as I see things evolve now, with the introduction of AI, my son's a software engineer, and he's like, "Dad, I think it's really important that trades are available to high school students.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I always say this. I think that everybody should have the opportunity to go to
Yes,
college, but
absolutely.
not everybody should go to college or needs to go to
Absolutely.
college and could be happier
Right.
in a trade not going to college.
I think that and we can, I know shouldn't be going down this road,
We can.
but I really feel that a good friend of mine was a educator in the Guilford school system, and we created a brand new high school here, an amazing high school, and they have shop classes, so to speak, surrounding cafeteria on a lower level, and those shop classes are kind of, the kids have a restriction, so it's block learning. Kids spend this time in this block learning environment, and they have a limited amount of time to experience these shops, whether they want to experience them or not. That's not really part of the main curriculum. The curriculum is preparing you to go to college.
Right.
You need to go to college.
Yeah.
And if these schools, we had to make a decision in middle school what we were doing, because trade school was in lieu of regular high school.
Wow.
I was either, when we were in 7th grade.
That's crazy. So you were
Right?
13 years old.
Yeah. So when I was in 7th grade, they had an educational program that involved, they did a little program at middle schools, the state trade schools, and they would show you what you could be, what you could take up as a trade.
Yeah.
There were many offerings. Now there's more, right? And they said, sign up, come to the trade school that was local to you for 2 weeks in the summer. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was 2 weeks in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
They pick you up in a bus, ship you to the trade school. You move for 2 days through each shop. You build some crazy little thing or whatever you're doing, whether you're working on a mannequin and hairdressing, or you're doing something in cooking, or you're
three-legged stool.
Yeah, you're doing something in electronics, or whatever you were doing at the time. They move you through each shop and get a feel for it.
Yeah.
And then at that time, they were grading you regarding your interest and your capabilities in 7th grade. And then in 8th grade, based on how they reviewed you, how they thought you would be as a trade school student, you had to apply to go to trade school.
Wow.
And you had to apply in the beginning of 8th grade and decide if that's what you wanted to do instead of a regular high school.
Yeah.
And
a huge decision.
And that's still, you're still doing that today in lieu of regular high school.
Yeah.
And so a lot of kids just can't make that decision.
Yeah.
In 8th grade?
Yeah.
Come on. As parents,
they're most concerned with their Call of Duty score,
Right. So if regular I'm not to get off track, but if regular high schools now had these industrial arts classes, or even what if your son or daughter wants to be a painting contractor? I know some very extremely successful painting contractors. It doesn't take much. It takes skill.
But there's not a lot of tools,
You don't need a lot of tools.
You don't need a shop.
What you need? You need some basic accounting classes. You need a class in high school that shows you how to the beginnings of managing a business. You don't need an MBA.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you learn along the way, sometimes hard, sometimes, hard lessons, sometimes not.
Yeah.
But the basic things that you need to do to be a self-employed person. So they're all trades.
Yeah.
Even, whether you decide you want to have a landscaping company, whatever it is.
Or dry cleaning business.
Business. Or
laundromat.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You don't need a college education for that.
No. But you need to be educated.
You need to be educated.
Yeah.
You need to know how to start a small business, how to manage your small business, how to
LLC, all
you need
that
a how-to.
Yeah.
And I think that would, unfortunately, that colleges and universities probably don't want to hear that kind of point because, college tuition is not inexpensive.
No.
But it's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And more now for I fear for students that really didn't know what they wanted to do in college, and now they're into college for $100,000, and they're
If they're
halfway
lucky.
through, and they're halfway through,
lucky,
or more,
yeah.
or if they're lucky,
Yeah.
and now with the onset of AI and automation and jobs being removed out of the
Particularly
market
at
for
the
that,
entry level. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they're gonna I think the trade school scenario and the after college privately run trade colleges are going to start to become
More
an up and
popular.
coming thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, look, let's say if Guilford High School were to be built today, I bet you the shop feature would have a larger footprint,
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think that that's the direction, because and colleges will have to, it's interesting, because when I was my parents didn't know how to send us to college afterwards. I joke about this, but my mom and dad said, if you want to drive a vehicle and have a license and have a car to drive when you're 16, you need to really I want to make sure you're getting A's and B's. I'm like, what? And this all started with my first semester as a freshman getting those kind of grades.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, you did that as a semester, your first semester as a freshman. We're expecting that the entire time. So I went through my high school and with these National Honor Society grades, and my friends were all in my level of class, were all going to, Rensselaer, MIT. They were becoming engineers in their trade, whether they were electricians or whatever they were, electronics, electricians, going to, become architects and so on. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to learn my trade.
Yeah.
But they're like, what? What are you doing? Did you waste all this time getting these, being in this level of education, and now you're going to go on with your trade? And sometimes I think back at that and think, back then education was cheaper than it is now.
That's for sure.
It was.
Yeah.
It might have been interesting, but then the reward is, like I mentioned, the 18.
Tom, you could have been sitting at a
house.
cubicle, though.
Exactly. I know.
Miss
right?
out.
I'm totally good with that.
You could have been climbing that ladder. You just would have reached that rung.
And so it's the creative part. It stems back from my parents.
Yeah. Interesting.
And some of my classmates, their parents were the same thing, and it's a certain time that we grew up in. Yeah. Our parents had busy lives, but it was a one. Like my dad was the employed person. My mom was at home. She was always finding things for us to do. We were Cub Scouts. We were Boy Scouts. We were, so we were always creating things.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing. So now we share that with our employees. We teach them how to be good people and create things and make people appreciate what we do.
Nice. So you mentioned some tough lessons. Like what would have been some hard lessons you learned?
Many of those hard lessons have to do with they have to do with pricing,
right?
Making sure that's always the critical thing.
Yeah.
The critical thing is being sure that the critical thing is making sure that you have enough to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to know how much time it takes to do things.
Yeah. Even you being in the business for as long as you have.
It's very difficult. And the ideal thing, and a very good friend of mine who operates this way, is, many clients are fearful of when you start to mention to them that you want to work as time and materials. So cost of the job with labor and materials plus your overhead and profit markup. And it takes a contractor client relationship of a high level of trust.
Yeah.
To let the client allow the contractor to go about his business and create something for them and constantly keep track of what the costs are. But many people want just this lump sum price. Create this for me, this is the agreement. This is what I'm paying for you.
Right.
It's like building your automobile. You want to.
But I mean, you build an automobile, it's, chassis with a few small different paint, a little different
unique.
interior. This is unique. I mean, how can you, every time you're pricing it out, it's something entirely different.
It is unique. Yeah. And so my good friend that does this, that really specializes in this, he said, I make a good living and it's fair on both sides. And the client is never being overcharged. I'm never losing any man hours by miscalculating.
Right.
So it's a very enjoyable experience. And we work that direction sometimes.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you're always developing a working budget for the client ahead of time, so it's not just a surprise.
Right.
And the advantage you have is most of the time that working budget is slightly higher, and you come in under the time.
Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah. And clients appreciate that. We have one of those clients right now, and she's going to be very surprised when I give her the bill for our hours and she finds out that they're way under what we estimated.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's all good.
Yeah.
And in a way, I'm like, oh, man.
But they know you're working and you're working. You're not,
happy. And then we're going to do more work there just because she knows she has space now.
And how do you deal with changes? I mean, I'd imagine most projects, nothing is exactly as it is in the blueprint. You get towards 90% and the client wants something different here, something different there.
We write a change order.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on the client.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have the client that we just finished the project last year, and his comment is, I just wanted to get it done for us. I completely trust you. I said, this is our hourly rate. I'm going to charge you for I'll document it when we're done. You can see it. Do you want to know now? Nope. He's like, and we have a great relationship with that client, and it all works out. They have a product that be above and beyond our contract.
Yeah.
And they knew what they were getting. They're completely happy with the home that we built. So they knew that all the fine cabinetry that we were building was going to work for them. And he knew that I work well with his wife in designing the project. So that was a load off his mind. He didn't have to kind of narrows the relationship down and keeps it just between the three of us.
Right. And when you're working with a couple, you spend more time working with the wife or the husband generally?
Usually it's the wife.
Okay.
Because it's the happy wife, happy life thing.
Right.
And usually the husband knows that. He's read that
if
before.
He's smart enough.
He's read that before.
Yeah.
And he'll always most of the time.
Yeah.
He'll always interject and but that's we're in 2025, so it doesn't always work that way. Which is fine. Which is fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's every client we work with is unique, and they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. And we get to learn about them.
Yeah.
We learn about their lifestyle. We learn about their kids. We learn about their, we had two wonderful ladies that were building for quite a few, probably about 8-9 years ago now. And they were having a child while they were having twins while we were building our house. So there was a lot of emotion going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's awesome. And they're very nice people, and we stay in touch.
Yeah.
They've moved all over the place. So they moved from the house we built and in this time. And it's, in fact, we just connected through Facebook.
Yeah.
She replied to me. They were moving back to the area.
Oh, that's great.
And I was like, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the fun part about, like I said in the beginning, that's the fun part about my job is meeting the clients and the challenge of keeping this balance, maintaining their confidence in us, and being rewarded with a relationship afterwards.
Yeah. Ever have a client cry?
Have I what? Sorry.
Have a client cry from happiness, joy, or maybe on the other way too.
Yes, we have both ways. I'm not going to lie, both ways. Sometimes there's and probably in my career, I would say I have had 2 clients that were the most challenging ever, and I couldn't wait to be done.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they came in the same year.
Oh, wow.
And, which after that, I've been blessed.
You're like,
before that, I was blessed.
Wow.
But so that's okay. It was a good shake of the cage.
Right.
And say, look, you got to be on your game and you got to feel these things out.
Yeah.
And whatever you did to create this imbalance or whatever you couldn't control to create this imbalance, because that is typical.
Yeah.
You need to be the psychologist in here and balance it all out.
I mean, sharing as much as you can, or what happened in broad terms
on those particular projects.
Yeah, I mean, what's the general
emotions, time expectations, because in the end, the particular projects that were unfortunate ran over quite a bit on time.
Yeah,
and new projects, new homes, but ran over on time. In the end, they love their projects. They love them.
Yeah.
But, and I talk to, I have connections where I know of people that are good friends with them, and they love that project.
Yeah.
So I walk away from that, and I think, okay, we built some beautiful homes.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, there's always those 2 projects that are like this little person that pops up on your shoulder and says, remember this.
Well,
it's that fine line. Don't let it get to that point.
I had a doctor on the podcast a couple months ago, and she said something I say to my kids, I say to myself, don't let a bad experience go to waste. And it sounds like you haven't,
Exactly. It's all a learning experience.
Yeah.
It's all a learning experience. And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. How do you deal? I mean, there's so much out of your control in that you're working with all these subcontractors. You have to deal with weather issues. You got to deal with supply chain issues. Like, how do you juggle?
Well, on the weather issues, it's an understood thing. I mean, clients know that you're not going to, if it's pouring rain and we're in the middle of building their foundation, which is the first portion of their project, right? Or it's a remodeling project and we are removing their roof. Well, they know of it.
Yeah.
Those are understood things. Now, good contracting and good business practices say that we are not only having an email conversation about these delays, we're sending in a change order for time.
Right.
And that's a scolding that I got from my brother-in-law who was involved in a very large pharmaceutical company with global expansion.
I see.
And he said, he's like, it's going to come back to bite you unless you document your time.
Get it in writing. Yeah.
Document your time. And so that's how we deal with that. Subcontractor delays, as anyone listening to this podcast who is a contractor can really understand, sometimes subcontractor delays are challenging.
Yeah.
We have one now that we expected to be beginning this, the restoration of the older home, the project, we expected to be on site a week ago.
Right.
And the site is still being overrun by foundation work.
Wow.
And it's just
concrete guys.
Concrete guys. It rains. It rains a couple days, and for some reason those 2 days turn into 4 days setback and whatever. We understand. I mean, I think all of us understand more, and patience has become people have had a different level of patience during this, post COVID shutdown thing of the state, and finding contractors when people were building like crazy right after, when they needed all the space because now they're working from home. Now people, and my own kids the same way they're not working. They still work from home, but they're into the office, right, for a couple days a week. And now their lives are extremely busy, and they understand that. And so there's a better understanding for what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's how we deal with communication. That's how we deal with delays.
It's got to be hard though. I mean, you can't, a plumber is their own independent contractor. Like, you can't, there's very little that you can do to.
Well, that's why you build relationships with them.
Right. Yeah.
It's all mutual respect. It's mutual respect with client contractor. It's mutual respect contractor subcontractor. Yeah. We respect each other. I'm in business. I know you're in business. I know you might be down 2 employees and everybody's pulling you in each direction. But just remember that in the end, if you're 2 days late or 3 days or 4 days late with your portion of the project, that doesn't mean my client understands in the end when I'm 5 days late or 10 days late or a month late.
Right.
We have to have this open line of communication. I can convey that to my client and they can understand that.
Yeah.
As long as we're upfront, as long as we are open and have open conversation with all the trades.
So you're saying 14 months to build a house. How often are you in touch with the client? The home?
Every week.
Every week.
Every single week. Every single week we have a job meeting. I mean, sometimes those projects could be, our project that we're working on, the restoration is going to be probably a 16-month project or whatever.
Wow.
And then it's going to go on. There's other phases of work.
Yeah.
Guest house, stables, all kinds of things.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to have a great open communication there. But job meetings are every week. And sometimes, if the client feels like they don't need a job meeting every week, then fine. That's great. Yeah. I would rather not waste my hour or 2 hours. Sometimes they become because sometimes job meetings become a chat session, and next thing you know, someone is talking off topic, and we're there for hours. Yeah. And but they're important. They answer those job meetings. I leave it with my client, new clients, old clients. Yeah. Some folks, at the end of the day, they just shut down, don't answer their phone, don't answer a text message, and me, I just roll a little differently. I'd say, look, feel free. I always want to know your ideas. Yeah. I always want to know what's on your mind, what's bothering you, what you're thinking about changing, because possibly we can avoid some additional cost if you let me know what you're thinking.
Early on, yes.
Let me know what you're thinking. Don't think that we're not going to get to that point.
Because you will.
And because we are, and we're beyond that. Yeah. And then the change is going to cost you. Yeah. And so time and monetarily. Yeah. So share all these ideas. Yes. I have a couple architects that I have to say that as well. Share your ideas, because, the worst thing you want to do is be working with an architect and creating a project, and the project is shy on details, and you create something and have the design professional say, gee, that's not really what I had in mind. Well, that's why we work together as a team to create things.
I mean, it seems like it's so much about just checking in, so much about not assuming anything. Yeah.
It's all about communication. Yeah. It's about skill. But communication is high on the list.
I mean, it sounds it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done.
It is. It is. I'm sure you've done projects on your own.
Yeah, of course. And the natural inclination is just move, and get it done.
And you're busy, and you contract work out, and you hire someone to do work on your home, and you're busy at work, and you come home, and you're like, wow, that's not what I would.
Yeah, please just call me.
Just call me. Tell me. Talk to me. Tell me. And that's a big thing. Yeah. So that's what that's the purpose of weekly meetings.
Yes. I mean, and these days it's easier than ever. Call, text. You don't have to send smoke signals to people.
Absolutely. And I said, look, if I don't answer you, it's because I'm doing something with my family and,
Right.
and whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll read it.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
But send it to me.
Yeah.
Send it. A, it's a record of me acknowledging it. And B, it could save you money, save us aggravation.
Yeah.
It's good. It's all good.
Any jobs you avoid?
To avoid?
Yeah. Or any jobs that you're like, nope, not taking this on.
No, not really.
Really?
Not
Okay.
really. I mean, we tend to, our projects just naturally fall into a certain category. I don't know. We have we get some challenging projects. We get some artistic, creative projects. But that's who we follow with architects. The architects I work with are very creative. They're highly skilled. They create some amazing projects. And so they're all bridges.
Yeah.
And as we work for those clients are happy. It's all about building bridges.
Yeah.
We try to burn very few.
Right. And so how close are you working with the architects? I mean, they hand you the blueprints.
Well, yeah, they're, some projects we will work from the beginning as a team with the architect and the owner and develop a project budget so that one specific architect that I work with, he likes to work that path because it allows him to succeed easier. Yeah. It allows his creation to be built.
Yeah.
So you're building a budget as he's designing with the client. And then you can periodically think, where are we? What are we with this? Okay. It's a lot of effort to continuously price work and the project. The client wants to know where they are right now. Where are we? Can we build this? Can we do this? Can we add this? Can we do geothermal instead of another fossil fuel?
Yeah.
Which is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And so that is one direction. And the other direction is, the architect creates the project and then he recommends 3 of bidders that he's familiar with, that he's been successful with.
Okay.
He's happy with. He knows that those contractors can create successfully without issues, without crazy additional costs, without a breakdown in relationships. They can create what he has drawn.
Right.
Then they bid on it.
Okay.
So those are,
So sometimes you're coming in very early on when it's just a concept in somebody's mind. Sometimes it's like,
and those
here's
projects,
a blueprint, go to work.
Right. And those projects like that typically are built from the beginning with what's known in our business as value engineering.
What does that mean?
Value engineering means actually what happens is there's 3 bidders on the project. The project came in over the estimated budget that the architect has projected to the client.
I see.
And now the client now between the client and the architect, they pull things back on the project.
I see.
And now basically less of the project is built or there's some adjustments. The architect's role at that point in time is to not pull things out of the project that really affect their design. Right. Because they're on they have to walk a tight line too, designing a project that hopefully comes in on their budget when the job's bid out.
Right.
So there's a lot of stress involved there.
Sure.
I wouldn't want to be the architect in that case.
So, I mean, it's almost like maybe that indoor pool is not going to happen sort of thing.
Yeah. And now since things have changed in another direction, things cost quite a bit more, unfortunately, to construct now than they did in 2019.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, in 2020, the fall of 2020, we saw, lumber products
Go crazy.
right? And most of the lumber suppliers were, I was speaking to one of our large local lumber suppliers, the vice president of the company, and he said, "Well, Tom, you just need to get used to this. This is the new
normal.
This is the new norm.
Yeah.
You're now going to pay 2 times as much as you've always paid historically for one sheet of plywood."
Right.
Structural plywood.
And 8 times as much for cedar.
Right. And 8 times as much for cedar. Well, unfortunately, the 8 times as much for cedar seems like it hasn't changed.
It hasn't. It's crazy.
It has not changed.
It's crazy.
But the plywood, but the framing market for building wooden homes came back down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, to pretty close to where it was,
which is crazy. Yeah.
It's
good
unfortunate.
Thing,
it was unfortunate for the lumber companies that were sitting on inventory that they paid a lot of money for.
Right.
And then they had no choice but to unload it to filter in the cheap inventory.
Right.
But that was a learning experience.
Yeah.
But the other manufacturers in the industry that make windows and doors and heating and air conditioning units and lighting fixtures and so on have their prices have just increased and they're not coming down.
No.
So it makes it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And that's why we, all of our projects every one of our projects is really an energy efficient home.
Yeah.
Built with low energy demand and
which is great. Nobody likes paying more money for, heat and electricity
No. Unfortunately, some things are going away due to our, the current situation.
Yeah.
But hopefully they come back.
Yeah.
There's always another round.
Yep.
And the wonderful credits to be energy efficient will come back.
Right. I mean, they're popular because at the end of the day, again, who wants to pay high electricity and energy bills? I mean, it's great.
No one.
And I see we had a new oil tank installed, and I said to the wrong guy, it was from the oil company. I was like, "Yeah, this is the last oil tank this house will ever have." I said, "It lasts for 25 years, and hopefully 25 years from now, the home will have super high efficient solar panels, and it'll be electric heated, and you won't need oil heat anymore."
Right.
Same thing with geothermal. I mean, we had geothermal. Are you seeing that in a lot of your projects?
Every project we build is geothermal.
Really?
Yeah.
And now, is that because of where we are in this part of the country, or?
Well, it's because of the cost of electricity.
Right.
That's the big driver.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's the power companies lobbying for lobbying for their position in the state, especially in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And the cost of energy in Connecticut is so high.
Right.
Electrical energy is so high. And conveniently, the power company also is under the same wing as the gas company.
Right. Yeah.
So gas goes up slightly, but gas is still the more efficient way to heat your home.
Yeah.
Versus electricity, because even though air source heat pumps are very efficient, you're still putting all your eggs in the electric supplier's basket.
Right.
Which is scary.
Yeah.
It's like buying cable TV and internet.
Right. Do you have people who are trying to be off the grid in certain respects, or prepping?
It's difficult to do when you have power going by your home.
Yeah.
So most of it is like, and one home we just completed it has photovoltaic on the roof.
Okay.
And enough to bring their electric bill to zero. They don't have an electric bill, so they have geothermal.
Wow. Yeah.
And which is a very low cost. Geothermal is expensive
at the outset.
It's expensive, but they were lucky to be able to take advantage of the government incentives.
Okay, yeah.
And so thank goodness for that. And even now, our client they were building for now, the modern home, that's geothermal. They're not going to be able to take advantage of the incentive. We sold it to them as, they're all on board with geothermal. They know that geothermal energy, heating and cooling, is a no-brainer when it comes to being efficient and the least cost of energy.
Yeah.
And, and it's very compact. It's not the sprawling geothermal exchange field, 5 feet deep underground. It's vertical bores.
Wow.
So
Okay.
because they're most efficient.
Yeah.
And so it's taking advantage of the thermal transfer on our Earth.
That's great. Yeah.
And so coupled between that and photovoltaic, it really, again, these things, it costs money to save.
Of course, but I mean, that's, it's an investment.
It is. And if you're going to be in your home for, it's funny because when the federal geothermal rebates were in place and the federal photovoltaic rebates in place was up until January 1st of this coming year, which takes 30% off of the cost of your system, that's significant.
Sure.
And when it comes to geothermal, the payback time was like 7 years.
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah. Which is nothing. And,
It's nothing.
I mean, a mortgage is 30 years. Yeah.
6 years.
It's a quarter of a mortgage.
Now you're experiencing geothermal at its finest. And so,
yeah.
So, unfortunately, I mean, we're hoping to do the same thing. I decided it's time for my wife and I to take advantage of the real estate market, sell our home and build a new home.
Good for you.
And she deserves a new pair of shoes from the cobbler.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be 100% complete pair of shoes. But
it may never be 100% complete pair of shoes.
No. Right. And that's what she was saying now that, I'm rushing around to complete all those little things that I've left dangling that haven't been completed. And she said, "Why are we moving? You're finishing all the little tasks."
That's what always happens. The jobs get finished when you're about to sell it. Yeah. Well,
I promise I won't do that again.
Any spouse of a contractor knows that no job will ever be. It kind of comes with the territory.
Exactly.
So, I mean, speaking of your own home, I mean, there's all these trends. I mean, what are you avoiding in your own home that you've seen too many times and you're like, this is just unnecessary, not going to work, and not going to last?
It's for me it's about energy. So I'm really doing my best to avoid air to air air source heat pumps. I'm trying to if whatever angle I can work to go to the ground source thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of the products in homes, I try to avoid, due to its cost and due to its just terrible to work with, is there's a fly ash based products out there that are cement fly ash based combination. I won't mention their names, but they are just terrible product to work with.
And what are they used for?
As a contractor.
What are they used for?
They're used for exterior trims.
Trims, okay. Yeah.
Exterior trims.
Yeah. Right.
To last forever, supposedly.
Supposedly.
But very, very, very dusty, very, very corrosive to our equipment.
Okay.
Abrasive to our equipment.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that is our biggest thing. We, there are wood products. There are new wood products that are treated out because the wood market has kind of lost its stand in exterior products.
Yeah.
So there are wood products now, which we are actually using on the 1800s restoration home. Mm-hmm. Because the client doesn't want anything that's plastic.
Good for them.
So we're using. So there are treated. There are lifetime treated pine products that are primed, that are very, very high quality, very dimensionally stable, and they're a great product.
Yeah,
it's just they come with a price, a high price.
Yeah.
So for the average person, they have to shy away from that.
How about cedar? Do much work with cedar?
We'd love to.
Yeah.
Just, we most of our homes were cedar shingles.
Yeah.
Being on the shoreline.
Yeah.
And many still are, but there are also the client that has had to move in other directions just because of the
it's just stupid expensive. It's just crazy ridiculous.
Yeah. Like that cedar that you can see over there in the corner of our shop was all for was for a client's fence, and that a privacy fence around the front of their home. They're in a beach community. And the front, it was the back, the street side.
Yeah.
The front of their home is the water side.
Yeah.
So they wanted a private patio level. And I won't even share what the cost of material for that fence was, but it was ridiculous.
Too much. Yeah. I mean, we have a fence, and I need to replace 2 sections of it, and I spent, it was just a small section, but it was $600 for the cedar, $100 for pressure treated. So 6 times more expensive. I know. And I'm like, I feel like I'm working with marble. If I screw up on pressure treated, I'm all right.
Absolutely.
And I don't really know what I'm doing.
I agree. And it's, I don't know how we fix that. We don't. It's
all coming from Canada, First Nations treaty. It is. That's my understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is.
So that's probably not going to change.
It is.
Yeah.
The white cedar products. I mean, I've been to the mills. I've been to the cedar mill in where's it, near Montreal.
Yeah.
And went on a tour with a local lumber company. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see how wood shingles are made.
Okay.
A little scary.
Really?
Actually.
Yeah.
Yep, because there's a man or a woman at a very large guillotine type machine that's slicing off these pieces of shingles that their hands are in close proximity of these huge. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
You would think it would be automated, but it's not.
Wow.
It's some, fierce Canadian workers up there that are
an automated
hard.
A fro on a
and so it's amazing to see that process happen.
Yeah.
And I don't quite gather where the increased cost is coming from, besides the tariffs, of course.
Yeah.
I think it's also because of, adjustments in deforestation.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that this particular trees that they're using to build these products they're not replenishing the forest that quickly. And the demand was very high during the, 2020, 2021, 2022. So it's supply and demand.
Yeah. Favorite products to work with, least favorite?
The least favorite is that fly ash based product.
Okay.
That is terrible. My favorite product is cedar.
Yeah.
When it comes to hardwoods, it's, in our cabinet making is maple and cherry, and those are fun products to work with.
Yeah.
But our favorite product is cedar.
Yeah.
Spanish cedar is really a wonderful exterior wood to work with, but very, due to regulatory guidelines, it's also very expensive.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, ePay, any of that stuff.
We use that often.
Right. Yeah.
Very often. And we love it. I mean, it's a great, durable decking material.
Yeah. For
decking. When we start to use it as deck railings and other products, ePay is it needs to be screwed down. You need to use it in the smallest width material you can, which usually we're building with 3.5-inch wide decking.
Right. Yeah.
And because the wider and the thicker the decking is, it definitely does what it wants to do. It's as hard as a rock.
Yeah.
It's a Class A fire rating. Doesn't burn.
That's good.
Doesn't absorb water. It's a great product.
Yeah.
Again, unfortunately, where it's harvested from, it's not the best place.
Yeah, right.
Governments are.
It's the equivalent of bluefin tuna.
Exactly. And so they're. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And all that is, and that's raising the cost as well of that product.
Right.
But, so my least favorite again is that terrible product that they've come up with that is just an added byproduct of coal-fired power plants, right?
Yeah.
Fly ash.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
And so they got to use that. They got to use that material someplace.
Yeah.
And they figured they can make money and throw it into something a contractor uses, they'll never know.
So walk us through a job. I mean,
Yep.
From pouring the site visit, pouring the foundation, to putting the hardware on, the kitchen cabinets and handing the keys to the homeowner. Like, what are the steps?
Yeah, well, typically we're laying out a job site for new construction. For new construction that involves a wooded lot, we're land clearing.
Right. Are you land clearing? Or are you doing?
Oh no, that's done by a contractor with some amazing.
They got some cool equipment.
Oh my gosh,
I've seen it on the internet. It's like, whoa.
The fun thing is to just stand there at a distance,
right,
with some hearing protection and just watch it happen, because it's just, God, it's it's amazing. Two guys on the ground with chainsaws and these people in these massive machines grabbing and chewing up logs and cutting logs. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I could see why it's a dangerous business to be in. And then the foundation installation, excavation, foundation installation, and then the wood framing process.
So you've already gone 3 contractors.
Yeah.
Land clearing.
Yeah, land clearing.
Excavation.
Well, before that, there's the professionals, right? There's the design.
Right.
There's the architectural design. There's the site engineer that has drawn a site plan.
Yeah.
That you need to follow.
Right.
Elevations, driveway location.
Right.
If we're talking septic and wells.
Wow.
Certain criteria between septic and wells.
Yeah.
There's a distance, obviously. And location of, now we capture all of a roof runoff.
Wow.
So we capture that and put it back under the ground.
Wow.
To prevent erosion.
Yeah.
So there's the site engineer that develops a site plan. And then we're back up to the excavation, foundation, wood framing.
And you're doing the wood framing.
No, we sub that out.
You do? Okay.
We sub that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to, this way I don't burn my guys out, and it gets done quicker.
Yeah.
Certain machinery that is required in this day and age to do that, to lift and reach and so on, is better off being left to those who want to pay for that and maintain it.
Yep.
And it's better for us to subcontract that framing out. Unless it's a small project.
Yeah.
Unless it's a small addition
then you do it.
Then we do that. And usually we're working on another project. We're working on the interior.
You're working on the interior, and then once the frame is done on the next.
Right. And then we mix and match. My crew is carpenters.
Right.
And we've transitioned. We were back in 2016, 17, 18, when we had more employees on our payroll, we were executing some very intricate coastal pier foundation projects that were quite involved.
Yeah.
And once we transitioned into a smaller payrolled crew, that work just went by the wayside.
Yeah.
And the crew, we didn't mind.
Right.
That was really challenging. We had some challenging projects.
Yeah.
And because the coastal building is quite extensive, as you can see by things that aren't done in the Carolinas.
Oh my gosh. Every week there's another house falling into
shame. Such a shame.
Tough. Yeah.
Such a shame. It's just someone meant for those homes not to be there. So,
I mean, they're not called barrier islands for nothing. I mean, they shouldn't have been built.
Constantly shifting.
There should be, fishing camps more than anything else. I mean, and that's what they are in the Louisiana Bayou. They're, essentially temporary camps with propane refrigerators, and these. Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible to see that.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
So here our coastal requirements are pretty extensive, and in the Northeast we're building more with concrete. There are no wood pile construction homes constructed around here. No. You just don't see that.
No.
Everything is piles below grade.
Okay.
We do that as well.
How far down do you have to go?
It depends on the soil conditions. In a coastal home, the soil borings will be done. during the design phase to determine if the soil. Many of the homes are built not just right on Long Island Sound in the sandy area, but many are built bordering tidal creeks behind that, right? So there's always two sides of the street.
Right.
You live behind, across the street, and you're probably in a tidal estuary.
Yeah.
And those tidal estuaries are layers of organics.
Yeah.
Layers of organic soil. It could be sand 30 feet down, and then, a 20-foot layer of organic silt that's just rotting, decaying plant matter. And then our glaciers have brought in a layer of sand on top of that.
Yeah.
So many of those homes that we tear down are homes that are tilting or needs a new foundation, a deep foundation, which is where we install a product called the helical pile. So those get sent in, they screw in, and we've installed helical piles that are 70 feet deep.
Wow. Okay.
Under an existing home that's lifted and going to be set back down on.
Oh my goodness.
So
okay.
It's fun.
Yeah. That's
cool. And
that's for real.
Yeah,
Not messing around there.
Yeah. But that's here.
Yeah.
That's in New England.
Yeah.
That stuff, we're not constructing homes like they're doing on the barrier islands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because our nor'easters are severe, just like their hurricanes are severe.
Yeah. Well, they probably couldn't get away with that kind of construction in 2025. That's got to be code from 20.
Yeah. Definitely. Those homes that we saw that are collapsing. No.
Yeah.
And they've already been scoured. You can see those homes here. I was reading some comments that I saw on some shared media that, how did they get to that house? It's so high off the ground. Well, you look at it, and that house all the soil's been scoured away from the pier foundation of that home for probably 2 hurricanes now. The thing's been out of the ground.
Yeah. I've read that those homes were 2 blocks from the ocean at one point.
Oh, they were?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So it's just erosion upon erosion over decades and decades.
So our projects in that case here, when we're in a coastal environment, they're installing helical piers, and there's quite an extensive foundation system on top of that, because on top of there's an interconnecting foundation system, and on top of that there are concrete piers, and those concrete piers might be designed to elevate the house 10 feet off of the existing ground level.
Yeah.
Just to meet FEMA's current flood regulations.
Yeah.
And then comes the framing that involves extensive structural steel.
Oh, wow.
Lots of structural.
In a residential home, which is
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Lots of structural steel. They're called moment frames. And moment frames happen when people obviously want lots of glass facing the water, but there's no resistance to movement left to right in the house or front to back,
right,
from wind shear.
I see.
So structural steel is involved and welded in place, columns, beams welded together to create this moment frame that stiffens the house.
Wow. Prevents
it from it's funny, there was a hurricane in Texas quite a few years ago, and I remember it was devastating. It was went through Galveston, possibly.
Galveston, yes.
And there was a unique thing where one home had been upgraded in the past couple years,
and I was the only one.
And that home was standing.
Wow.
It was scoured around the bottom. Nothing was left.
Right.
But that home was standing in the middle of complete devastation.
Yeah. I mean, Galveston, I think it was the 1909 hurricane that basically wiped it off the map. I mean, obviously it's since been rebuilt, but yeah, I mean, they're always due. New Orleans, I used to live on the Gulf. So yeah. This any coastal community.
Yeah. But then we tear down homes that are, we've torn down homes, and as a builder, as a contractor, you have to look at this and say, really? We tear down homes that are built before or right after the hurricane in our era of 1938, right? Those homes are 100% intact. they're just too small. They're
Yeah.
happen to be the wrong size.
Well, they got to put an
Happen to be
elephant
the
on a
wrong
postage
size.
stamp. Yeah. It's
But those homes are robust.
yeah.
And they have survived many hurricanes.
Yeah.
And still do not look like they would have any issue surviving more. But FEMA creates the guidelines, and if you in a FEMA zone, if you increase the value, if you're putting into the home more than 50% of the assessed value of the structure,
then FEMA regulations
of the structure, you have to upgrade the entire home to the current FEMA regulations, which most of the time involves lifting the home and then and following the rest of the FEMA guidelines.
Wow.
So many times it involves the home gets torn down.
Yeah.
So when people look at this and say, why are they tearing that perfectly fine home down? It's because of FEMA.
Yeah. It's easier to build from scratch than it is to
exactly.
reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So getting back to a framer, you got the framers.
So the frame. So the frame, then framer finishes their work. They basically in charge of completing the framework,
the wall
of the shell, the walls, floor system, roof, so on. Roofer comes in right after that, creates a watertight roof system. And then at that time, we're usually installing windows. As soon as the house is watertight, we're installing windows, which could range from, some interesting large glass windows that in this day and age become a very expensive part of the project.
Oh, yeah.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
And once the windows are installed, then we continue on the outside, creating the trims in preparation for the body of the siding, while the subcontractor trades heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, are working on the inside.
So you come in at the roof is in, you're installing the windows.
In my company, we always install all of the windows and doors in the opening.
Because you can't trust anybody else to hang them right.
I don't want to make it sound like, no, we can't. It comes to liability.
Yeah.
It comes to liability. And water, it can create quite a damaging effect when it comes to leaking. And all of our projects have some combination of rigid spray foam and batt insulation and continuous thermal insulation wrap on the outside, all these things to meet the modern energy codes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, not sometimes, this is the matter of fact all the time, in using this type of an insulation system, that you won't know that something's leaking on the inside of the house, because the closed cell foam spray that you're creating on the inside of the wall, 2 inches thick, as a flash layer of closed cell insulation, it's closed cell foam. It won't let water through.
Yeah.
So a house can be leaking for many years, and you won't know it
until it's
so then the damaging effect of water penetrating it could be
catastrophic.
Yeah. So we create a watertight skin.
Yeah.
And which involves the installation of the windows.
Yeah.
And the particular manufacturer that we work with a lot appreciates that. They appreciate it cuts down. They know that if I'm calling to say that there's a problem with a window on a project, I'm not crying wolf.
It's a manufacturing issue.
They know that it's
Who's your favorite window?
Marvin.
Yeah, we got Marvin.
Yeah. I mean, and I've been working with Marvin for a long time.
Yeah.
And they have a great product.
Yeah.
Great product, great customer service.
They really do. Yeah.
They do. And in the Northeast, if we were somewhere else in the US, if we were down in North Carolina, we'd be talking Anderson.
Okay. Why is that?
It just seems to be the product. You look at a lot of those homes that are in the Outer Banks, many, and I look at that purposely to see which windows have lasted a long time, which
So
windows
you're looking at it from a true builder's eyes. You're like, those are Anderson windows.
Yeah, I want to see what and Anderson has a dominant presence down there.
Interesting. Okay.
And I mean, yeah, and their windows perform.
Yeah.
They perform well. But, in the Northeast, where we're subject to some definitely different, we're subject to 4 seasons.
Yeah.
4 real seasons.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I in our area, Marvin is the way to go.
And I could attest to their customer service. I called one of their representatives, and it was like, I don't know, it was a Friday late, and it was his very last call before he retired. I thought that was
really?
the coolest thing. I was the last guy he ever spoke to. I'm like, all right, let me make this good. You don't want to be the problem child. It's like, all right, let's go out with a bang or whimper. I don't know. But yeah, that Marvin does have very good customer service. But it's interesting to hear that, in colder climates or I shouldn't say colder, I should say we experience everything from 100 degrees to -5.
Right. We can't tell. We can't tell where we're going with our climate. I mean, we know where we're going. I think we could all agree. But it could be crazy. I mean, we could get, some very cold 0 temperatures for a long period of time, and we want to make sure we have tight windows for our clients, and we create an energy efficient shell.
Yep.
And so then we move right along to completing the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and right to the insulation, which, like I said, we use a combination of insulation products, and to achieve always exceed what the code says.
Yeah.
Because you could never have, we built along with an architect a couple of years ago, we built a passive home, and that was amazing. The amount of required heating and air conditioning tonnage in that form was incredibly low. The walls were 18 inches thick.
Damn.
And full of, special insulation, and no spray foam insulation. And it was just amazingly tight home. Took very little to heat and cool it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like it didn't give me a warm and cozy feel for the depth of the
windows.
Of the walls, because you're like in a castle.
Right.
It's very deep.
Yes.
Very deep. And we built those particular windows were built in Poland to European standards, and which are different energy standards than we have here. And the European windows are mostly tilt turns. They don't double hongs, no casements. They just have this unique refrigerator-like closing.
So you're talking tilt turn, meaning a normal window in the United States opens from top to bottom, opens up. Tilt turn opens, as you said, like a refrigerator door.
It does. And, or it tilts out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or swings open.
Okay.
You have 2 different features.
Right.
Swings open towards the inside, not out.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It is interesting. It's an interesting window. But a very efficient home. Doesn't use a lot of electricity.
Yeah.
Doesn't take a lot of heating and cooling. So you can never have too much insulation. And the interesting, I hear a lot about people, the thought of homes that are too tight.
Yes.
That's a
I don't have that problem in my house, but I wish.
No,
it's a good problem to have.
All right. Well, the homes that are too tight. Well, we build the tightest home possible to prevent air infiltration. And at the same time, when you build a tight home, well, the energy models now push you towards energy efficiency, and the only way you're going to achieve energy efficiency is to have a tight home.
Sure.
And there are things in your tight home that end up costing you more money to install, which every tight home has some sort of air exchange unit. In our case,
so in other words, you're
ERV
bringing in air from the outside.
ERV or HRV, right? So the ERV, the energy recovery ventilators, is making air exchanges during the day. So it's taking the inside air, moving inside air out, outside air in to bring freshness into the house, and then we're also always dehumidifying the air when need be inside the house, because having a healthy house for the home, for the products in the home, and for yourself is very important.
Of course, yeah.
It's important for your health. It's important for the products in the home. It's important for your wood floors. Back before there was so much information on the internet, I remember working for a contractor when I was just out of trade school, and we were installing our oak flooring in homes as soon as the framing was done. The house was framed.
Oh.
And nothing was in the house. The oak flooring contractor would come in and install all of the oak flooring.
Yeah, but that thing can expand, contract.
It didn't matter what time of year it was.
Wow.
It didn't matter what time of year it was. The process was, and we would build, I worked for a builder then that was building, 70 homes a year.
Right.
Or more.
Right.
But that's just
churning
the
them
process.
out.
That was just the process then.
Yeah.
And it was the accepted process. And these homes these are homes built in the 80s, and they were built the same way in the 70s and the same way in the 60s.
Yeah.
And some were built the same way in the 90s, but then we started to progress. And the internet came to be, and there's more information out there.
People got smarter.
Right. And so back then in the 80s, most of these houses were oil fired in New England. Oil fired hot water baseboard heat was typical.
Mm.
Some were oil fired warm air if you bought an upscale home, but you were getting extensive amounts of shrinking in your flooring. And I remember the representatives of this big company I work for would tell the customer, well, that's because your home is dry. Don't worry. In the springtime, it's going to expand again.
Right.
And it did.
Right.
Because those homes had so much air movement through, so much air leakage.
Right.
So much humidity, such a humidity swing.
Right.
That yes, those wood floors would tighten up again in the spring. If we build a home now with as tight as we build it, and if we did not dehumidify the home after the drywall phase, first of all, now our wood floors go in after drywall.
After drywall,
it's
okay.
Finished.
Yeah.
But if we did not dehumidify the house and keep it maintained at about 50% relative humidity throughout the project, we would have shrinkage issues.
And it would not expand.
And it would not expand
Right.
because the home is tight.
Too tight, yeah.
So
properly tight, yeah.
Yeah, so all of our projects have dehumidification and humidification. So it's controlled. So we're creating a controlled environment, just like an office building.
Yeah.
And it's healthy. It's healthy for the house. It's healthy for the occupants.
And you're installing the floor. Your crew installs the floor.
We don't.
You don't?
We don't. We let the flooring contractor come in, install, and then when it comes time, our projects are sanded and finished in place. They're not pre-finished products. So we're sanding and finishing in place. And those products we're using in a seacoast, in a coastal environment, are all special engineered flooring where it has a quarter of an inch of whatever species of wood you choose, and then below that it has a half an inch of what's called Baltic birch plywood with many layers, so it's super dimensionally stable. And those floors can be 8 inches wide, and they have zero shrinkage.
Yeah,
zero.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome product.
Yeah,
and it's good for forestry, because you're shaving a quarter of an inch and not using 3/4 of an inch of a particular species of lumber, and never using the bottom
Right.
layer.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So you got the sheetrockers in, you got the tapers in.
Yeah, tapers in, the floor gets installed, and then as soon as the floors get installed, we usually cover our floors just to prevent some guys that have lots of tools hanging off of them, dropping things,
doing
and
dumb
denting
things.
floors.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that we're not babysitters as well. It seems like we are sometimes, or your parents.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
right?
you got to be.
Constantly follow. You have to be,
You
because
can't expect tradespeople to be ballerinas. I mean,
there are. They're thoughtful people, but when it can be problematic when you have a very expensive wood floors and you have someone dropping something on the floor, and next thing you know, it gets uncovered and ready to finish, and there's
all these pot marks on there.
There's this cross line of a Phillips screwdriver head in your floor that's now has to be replaced.
Yeah.
So we really do everything we can to protect that.
Yeah.
So then the trim work starts.
Okay. Who does that?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. So all the finish work, everything you see, we focus on doing.
I gotcha. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the trim work starts, and that's when it gets personal.
Yeah.
That's when the client really gets involved. They can really
envision.
It's theirs at that point.
Yeah.
It's personal.
Yeah.
And that's when we, if we have a huge master bedroom closet, that's when we're designing closets and built-ins and whatever we're designing for the client, and fabricating here.
Yes.
Fabricating it in this shop.
Yeah.
And delivering it. Usually we're finishing it in this shop. We use some really cool Italian water-based coatings that are 0 VOC, which are great. Great. They produce a very hard finish, long-lasting, no effect on the people applying them or
which is good.
or the home that they're installed in.
Yeah.
So, and then we move right along to once we get all the trim installed, then we have our painters in. And then the painters have the house to themselves. The key is to get the home 100% complete with trim and finishes, and then leave it to the painter. And that ends up always being the cleanest path and the path of least repairs.
Yeah.
So you get to that point, the painter does his thing, then the gentle part comes in, then the finishes come in for the plumber and the electrician.
Okay.
And that's when they switch gears from rough and rugged and to shoe covers and
the shoe covers come out, and it's like that's a new stage of the project.
Right.
We're getting to the home stretch.
Whole different phase, right?
Yeah.
The shoe covers come out, drop cloths, protection, furniture blankets over everything.
Yes. Okay.
And that's when the magic happens. That's when the finished lighting goes on, and lighting now is so extensive. Many jobs have a lighting designer, and the lighting designer is actually a freebie, because if you choose a lighting establishment, we work with a certain person in this area, and she's wonderful, and her prices are the same as anyone else, but yet she offers the service of working with the client to design the lighting theme.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference.
Yeah.
That some houses don't go to that extent, but sometimes if the electrician is just involved in laying out all the recessed lighting, we try and use the smallest recessed lighting that we can, so that you're not looking across the ceiling, seeing all kinds of bright shining stars in your ceiling. We try and make those in the modern home that I discussed earlier, where those recessed lights are actually completely recessed in the ceiling, and you don't see any light. They're called tape-in, and you see like a 2-inch by 2-inch square,
nice
opening in the ceiling, and you actually have to walk under the light to see the bulb up inside.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just really, it's extensive. Electricians aren't fond of these type
Yeah,
of
I'm
lights.
sure. Intricate.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're perfect for a modern home.
Right.
It's very slick.
Yeah.
Very slick. And so then the tradespeople are finishing up their items, and we're confirming that things are operating, working. Sometimes homes have home automation.
Right, got to
some
have
of
the
our project,
sound
gotta
system,
have
the smart stuff.
smart stuff, the complete home automation. If we're dealing in coastal homes, many of those coastal homes have a lot of glass, and some have glass that's inaccessible, so they might be remotely controlled shade systems
nice.
come down
Nice.
as needed. You can work off of your phone or a smart tablet that sits in the house on the wall or loose someplace.
And they all have backup generator.
Oh, yes. That's funny. Most people that's the first thing they want is a whole house generator.
Yeah.
And it's a small price to pay for the convenience of not being interrupted. And another thing, I was just having this conversation with a client today about elevators.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. And elevators are, people think that elevators are only for the wealthy, the 12, 13,000, 20,000 square foot homes. But it's not true. It's really the value of elevators is a small price to pay for the age in place person or family, husband and wife that deserve full access to every floor in their home.
Right.
At a small price, or they're downsizing. I think I had this conversation with you earlier about downsizing, and we have a client that built this enormous home with 2 matching master bedrooms, one on the second floor level, because they're not old enough yet where they need to live on the first floor, and then they prepared themselves on the first floor, but in reality they could have saved a tremendous amount of cost in square footage, tax-wise, construction cost-wise, by just shrinking the square footage of their home and installing an elevator in this 4.5 by 4.5 foot square, basically the size of a small closet, and stacked on top of each other, and be able to access all their floors, basement, first floor, second floor.
Yeah.
At the push of a button. And that makes so much sense for age and place people. So
it's crazy to think about that. An elevator is just, run of the mill, but
it is. And it looks like it doesn't look like anything special. It looks like another door.
Right.
The only thing is there's a call button next to it.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing. I have, this is a different level client, but I have clients that use that elevator. They use it for everything, and including moving their seasonal clothing from the
yes, of course, yeah. Hey, well, we got these cashmere goes up, the linen comes down.
Yeah, we made these really cool drop down clothes racks in her elevator, and just the husband drops those down when it comes to make seasonal changes. And what's better than that? They don't have to, move their clothes up 3 floors to the spare bedroom, whatever.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yeah, so the fall colors will go up to the attic and bring the pastel colors down.
Yeah, exactly. So then we have the finishes. So that's really the end of the finishes. And then lights come on, the clients ooh and ah, and it's everything they expected most of the time. And and then we wrap up typically then we walk through. The ideal thing is, when you have job meetings every week and the client is there. We had a few clients that are out of state.
Right. Makes it harder.
And then those clients, again, I've developed some special relationships with those clients, because if they want to meet on, they're out of state.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to be able to be working for them.
Yeah.
So if they want to meet at some odd time, whatever.
Yeah.
We meet on their time.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be during work hours, Monday through Friday. I try to work it around my family time and just meet with them. Keep it short, keep it brief. All of these clients respect your time as well as theirs. And we and it works.
Yeah.
And in the end, they're appreciative of it, and that builds more business.
Yeah. And if you got good communication, they know what's up. There shouldn't be any unexpected things.
And, FaceTime or whatever you're doing, it's easy.
You make it happen.
This client happened to be living in Boston, and we're building our home here locally. And I would give her a FaceTime tour at the end of the day and ask her questions. And, we can answer things. And that was extremely helpful. And it built a great relationship.
Yeah.
A great relationship.
Yeah.
And so then you go through the punch list process.
What's on the punch list?
Move-in time? It could be anything. It could be just a lot. Most of the time, it's just paint things.
Okay.
Paint, things that might be missing.
Knob here,
knob here.
Change
More
this.
during, right after the 2021 lack of ability to have appliances on time.
Oh, right.
Now, back then, it was actually missing pieces of things, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Or literally 2021, we were doing projects that were missing. If we're executing a new kitchen remodel, we had projects that were missing appliances.
Oh, yeah.
For the longest time.
Yeah.
Or clients that had to order their appliances a year ahead.
Right. It's craziness.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Craziness.
So
I think we learned our lesson.
Yeah.
I think everyone learned the lesson from those things.
Yeah. So you feel like things are kind of back to normal at this point.
Yeah. Now it's, yeah. In fact, now it's, like we talked about Marvin Windows. Marvin Windows used to be
months.
12 weeks.
Yeah, that's how it was for me when we did our windows.
12 weeks.
It took 3-4 months. Yeah.
And then they were in a lot of times specialty Marvin windows were just like petering in. You wouldn't get a whole order, you get parts.
Right. Great.
now they're like
on it. Yeah.
Now they're half.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is awesome. And companies like that, I don't want to sound like an advertisement for Marvin, but most of those leading manufacturers want to know. Look, they need to compete against each other. They want to know from contractors where they can improve.
Yeah.
How?
Where are the hangups?
What do we think of their products?
Right.
We're always going to dinners and gatherings for contractors and I'm going to mention Marvin again, but Marvin to find out what we think about the product. What do we think about the new product line?
What can they do better?
What do we find it's aggravating? What common problems do we have that we receive on our end after shipping, after they get shipped from Minnesota,
right?
And get handled a billion times, and their products are, when we're in a coastal application, a lot of times we're using impact glazing glass, which is triple layered glass built to withstand the impact of an object in a hurricane situation.
Okay, and
all of these products are extremely heavy to deal with.
Triple layer.
Yeah, very heavy.
Yeah.
So, they want to know how to improve their product, which is a good thing.
What are those small details that are just like that you see when you go into a home where you're like, all right, that's a good carpenter. They did a good job. There are those little things that you're like, ooh, that's,
Most of it's trim details for us.
We're
always noticing that.
Yeah.
We're always noticing that. And I'm going to joke about this, but it's the truth. I mean, if you're going into a new home and you use your friend's bathroom, you spend a little time in the bathroom for 5 minutes or something, and you can look around and you can see that's pretty much a reflection of the.
Yes, it is. I mean, the same thing with a restaurant. It's like, dirty bathroom. I don't know about the food here. But I mean, it's very true. I mean, because there you're seeing the plumbing, you're seeing windows, you're seeing trim, you're seeing the floor.
Fit and finish.
Yeah.
And so we always it's a joke that we have, but it's serious that if we're doing lots of trim work, lots of paneling, lots of board, nickel gap type of material is very popular now. Horizontal planking that has the thickness of a nickel between it as a shadow line. That's very popular.
Yeah.
And all that has to look, the painting in there has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to get your friend that has been at the party all night and you've had a cookout with him and he's at your beach home and you're a few cocktails in, and he's going to start ribbing you about your, low quality job that your contractor just did.
Right. Yeah, you don't want that.
We don't want that. We don't want to be the topic of discussion when it comes to that.
No.
So that's an understanding with us. We have to make it. We have to make it as perfect as we can.
So when people are looking for a contractor, like, what do you recommend? What are the questions to ask? What to look for and what to look out for?
You have to talk to their previous clients.
Okay, fair enough. Simple enough.
I mean, really, you go and look at you look at their projects.
Yeah,
current projects. Do a drive-by of their past projects, and I think we as contractors, we all have our constant list of clients as referrals, and you could never contract with a general contract as a client. You can never contract with someone without speaking to their previous clients. You have to know how it works.
Yeah.
You have to know what they feel. If they don't have any, if they can't connect you with any, then that's obviously a red flag.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that our current client, the restoration job, I gave her a list of clients, and the one in particular was my Navy SEAL friend now, who I admire just for his life he's led.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's able to retire.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I tried to push my client towards that because that house was perfect.
Yeah.
For him. It was the same age. Well, she spoke to one of my other clients, and I get a text message from that client. Tom, I spoke to your prospective client, and I told her exactly how I feel about you, blah, blah, and I'm like, I said, thank you very much. That she's like, I hope you get the job. It sounded like she's really interested. And so then I asked this new client, did you call my other references? She's like, no, I have a feeling that they're all going to say the same thing. I'm like, come on, I really want to take you for a tour. I wanted to take you for a tour. And I said, look, these clients are these previous people who we worked for always open their house up. They're like, sure, just
that's great.
We're not going to be around, but go ahead. The alarm code, and you can enter and take them for a tour.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that says something right there.
It does. Yeah.
I mean, they got that trust in you.
Sells a lot of jobs. It does. And they're all like that.
Yeah.
Except two.
Yeah. Well, you've had dozens upon dozens, but they're happy with the house.
They're happy with the house. Yes. And we've all learned lessons.
Yeah.
And we've gone on from there. We don't let those things happen again.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And advice for, young people interested in the trades.
I think that if you have a creative bone in your body and you are interested in pursuing something that either, if you want to be your own boss, your own person, have the ability to be flexible, you're good at talking to people, that comes over time. You have patience. You can't be a successful contractor, any contractor, without patience.
Yeah.
You need to be able to know where your food on your table is coming from, and it's coming from someone else's pocket. There's a lot of emotion involved. That doesn't make any difference if you're a plumber, an electrician, or a building contractor. They're all the same. Plumbers do very well.
They do.
I joke with my friend. He's the highest pay scale of everyone.
Oh, of course.
No one wants, and the average plumber now is like in his 50s.
Yeah.
It's just, I hope that this turns around, and it seems like it is.
I think so.
And again, our schools our high schools, as scary as it seems, our middle schools need to be more in touch with the demand of labor, the labor market.
Yeah.
As things become more, more automated, robots are just look at the race for the perfect, robot to come to your home and do what? My son and I have this difficult discussion all the time, and he's like, Dad, you'll be surprised in your lifetime. I think your trade is going to be taken over, but I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
They're not doing
We're
trim.
the last,
No,
right?
no.
We're the last people, the last group that is going. Maybe the, I don't even think specialty things like even in-house, like automotive, like mechanics or things like that.
Very
it's
few.
just those trades, whether you're a mechanic, a diesel truck mechanic, or whatever you are, an electric vehicle mechanic, whatever you are, those trade-related things are important to make the wheels go around in our worlds.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to change. And
No,
I think and as we need replacements. We need replacements for guys like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do.
Let me ask you this. How's you've been doing this for a long time. How's your body holding up?
My body's holding up fine.
Good.
Just got a rotator cuff repair last January. I'm doing this new.
So, I mean, what advice do you give in terms of PPE and, safety goggles and all that stuff, ear protection?
What did you say? I can't hear you.
PPE. Personal protective equipment.
Yes, I know. I can hear you now. Personal protective equipment. I have to say that I definitely have a hearing deficiency.
Okay.
One of my grandsons walked up to me a couple months ago, and I kept saying, "What? And finally, and I wasn't thinking about it. I just naturally said, "What?" And he talks very softly, and he was talking from a distance of maybe 10 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
And he walked up to me, and he was signaling me to bend over so he could say something. He looked straight in my eyes, and with the clearest voice, he's like, "Pop, can you hear me?"
Yeah.
So that being said, hearing protection is probably the hearing. I mean, obviously, eye protection is a huge thing in every trade.
Yeah.
But hearing protection, those constant pitch of or whatever you'd call it, the constant noises of your trade, whatever they are.
Yeah.
My dad was a truck driver.
Yeah.
He was a Teamster. He drove a truck from the time he got out of the Navy till he had to retire. And he had a hearing deficiency. And he just spent years in this over-the-road truck, rumbling down the highway, working, 12 hours a day or 10 hours a day with wind noise and just this constant same noise.
Yeah.
So hearing is a big thing.
Yeah.
And hearing and vision.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the safety stuff that goes along with it. I mean, we're thank goodness we have a lot of products like that coating I just described to you for cabinets. It's very user-friendly.
Right.
But it wasn't always the case.
Right. Yeah.
When my wife got a good dose of PPE, she's a nurse, but she never experienced PPE until I told you we restored a family boat in this shop here for a couple of years. And,
Fiberglass.
And she was, she was wearing, I have actually bought her a special PPE head unit that is like positive pressure. It's
Darth Vader.
Yeah, it's like she would use it like you would use in an emergency room during COVID.
Oh, wow.
It was powered backpack with fresh air coming in. It was very comfortable to wear. And she got used to wearing that thing. But yeah, PPE is extremely important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vision and hearing more important than in all of our trades.
Okay.
So yeah, cannot say enough about hearing though.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I'm 61 and I'm just putting it off and I shouldn't. I need to just bite the bullet, get my hearing done, buy those cool little concealed hearing aids. Unfortunately, I wish my ears were back as far as yours are, so I could conceal those hearing aids a little more.
I mean, they're tiny these days. I mean, it's really amazing.
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
They're amazing.
They've gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, just my uncle was a fighter pilot in World War II and lost his hearing, and the bubbles on top of the planes over the Pacific, and I mean, in his lifetime, they got tinier and tinier. So
I know my dad had these big things.
Oh yeah, they were crazy.
My God.
Nowadays they're smaller than a pea.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of the boat, how do you unwind? How do you relax after all the?
We in the summer our family enjoys being on the water. We enjoy boating.
Yeah.
In the winter, we enjoy waiting for the summer. I think we're starting to ski more.
Good. Yeah.
Now that our grandchildren are of the skiing age,
nice.
we really, they're pushing us to ski more.
Good.
But
get you out there.
Yeah. But summertime, we're a boating family.
All right.
We love that.
Well, for folks living on Long Island Sound, Connecticut Shore, how can people find out more about you?
How can they find out more about it? We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram.
All right.
We're on Construction Services Unlimited is on Instagram.
Excellent.
So you can follow us, follow our projects.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Tom, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for having me here. We did it. All right.
Thanks for having me.
All Across America is produced by me, Marco Vig, in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Visit us on Instagram at All Across America. Check out our website, allacrossamerica.com. There's an interactive map with all our episodes, and there's a Contact Us page where you can send your reactions, guest ideas, and suggestions. So get in touch, stay connected. To me, that's what podcasting is all about. Thanks for listening.